Hello again, this is the video for week 6. In this short video I'm going to walk through, explain just some of the content items that I have in the weekly lessons tutorial, and then also walk through the prospectus and proposal ideas that you're working on for this week and for the proposal that you'll end up writing for next week, and kind of the big picture of the overall final project. So I'm in Blackboard in the Week 6 content folder. Just walk through the items that I have here so you understand what the purpose for them are. The first one is just a link to some additional information about how to write proposals, and I like this e-textbook because it provides a lot of nice other examples of proposals and what they look like and in different formats. So you can check that out for some additional assistance. The Center for Plain Language and Plain Language Examples, the title kind of explains it in itself. But the goal is to write clear and effective for your audience. And a lot of that has to do with eliminating excessive jargon and specific terms and terminology that's only specific to an industry or a very narrowed audience. It's not that you can't ever use those language and word choices, but the goal is to write in an effective manner so your audience clearly understands your purpose and your message. So the Center of Plain Language, just a very brief, short background, comes from contract writing and legal writing, and making sure that people understand what they're agreeing to, what they're signing in a contract, so to avoid a lot of legalese terms, not letting people feel misled or trapped into an agreement. So a push by the government was to establish the Center of Plain Language and to make sure that any public documentations that it includes the use of, or implements, excuse me, the use of plain language. So I provided some examples here of some before and after examples, some examples that were written with a lot of jargon or specific industry terms, and then how it's rewritten afterwards so it's much more clear for understanding for everyone. This is just purely for fun. It's a pop song that was rewritten without plain language and how that can really change an understanding of a message. So you can check that out. The next two are some lessons related to technical descriptions, which you'll be moving into for the remaining of the semester. You'll be writing a lot of technical descriptions. How to do that, there's different methods to doing so and different purposes for that, and keeping in mind of your audience. You know, what do they need to understand? What do they need to know? What's the best format and organization methods to describe those? So make sure that you take a good look at these, and you'll start implementing them in your future writing assignments. The next thing I want to walk through is the instructions for your proposal. I already have that open. First, big picture, for the rest of the semester, you're going to be working on a large project throughout the semester based on the topic you come up with for your proposal. And that proposal is going to then morph and evolve into a periodic report, and then moving into a user manual based on that topic, a usability report, and a presentation. But we're first going to start with that proposal and coming up with an idea for your proposal and making sure that you're on the right track and your idea will work for the overall projects coming up. So now you're in the brainstorming session this week, coming up with ideas. You need to do just some basic big picture research, see what's out there, spark some ideas and narrowing it down to the one that you want to choose. Write that prospectus in 500 words and then ultimately draft that proposal after your topic is approved. Think about this as a scenario that your supervisor at your job has asked you to come up with a fresh or new idea. And if you want to go be a little bit bolder, invent a whole new product or service. So the topic that you choose, make sure that it's common enough so that you can research it and that you can develop it. Also, due to that this is an online course, you want to kind of be thinking ahead of, how am I going to share this information? Because you're going to need to be demonstrating it at some point. So you're going to need to know how can I, think about your methodologies of how can this be demonstrated appropriately with my online audience. Next, you're going to be creating a user manual after your proposal. So the topic that you choose, you must take in consideration the user manual that's coming up. So can your topic be something that's eventually written in a set of instructions, the user manual? And you also want to keep in mind that that user manual and your product or your idea is going to have user testing, the end user testing it out and how it works. Does your instructions make sense? And developing visual aids. Okay, so you want to be thinking kind of the big picture right away when you think of your topic, and can this be then revised into those future assignments. And I posted those assignments on Blackboard, so if you want to look at the instructions for the user manual and the usability report, you can take a look at those. That might help you structure your idea a little bit more for the proposal. So first, you really need to figure out what topic you want to write about. I don't like putting too many restrictions at this stage because I want you to brainstorm and kind of think some crazy ideas, and then through some research and some thought process and feedback, structure those ideas a bit more and narrow them down into something that can be feasible. So I've suggested some ideas here for you. You definitely do not have to do them. You can come up with your own idea, but for example, these are ideas that can be eventually evolved into the user manual and usability. For the first one, how to improve an ATM's interface design and process for visually impaired individuals. Check out that video and see how frustrating it can be for a visually impaired person, and how can that be redesigned to make it more effective. Also, some ideas for coming up with proposals within your community if you're interested in that, making some changes in the Fargo-Moorhead community. There is a vision document out there right now that presents people within the community, their ideas and their vision for Fargo. Not all of them will work for this assignment, but some of them might give you some ideas to apply for your own idea. So you can check out that list. Maybe you're a software developer whiz or computer science major. Think about a mobile app that would be useful, or maybe one that you use right now and you find it highly frustrating, you don't like it, do a redesign of it, or design a new one, as I said before, that addresses a common need. Another one that people have done in the past, and they've had a lot of fun with it, is to develop a new board game, because this is something you can actually do. You can write instructions for, you can test it out, and write that usability report. So that people have had fun with that. Some other ideas I'm going to switch over to a couple websites that I have open right now, and I'll post these on Google Plus for you to see later. Make Magazine, I don't know if you are aware of this magazine, but it's for inventors and do-it-yourself builders. They come up with ideas or redesign something, and they share that. There's actually a Makers Faire. I think there was a mini Makers Faire that came through Fargo at one point, and where they displayed their designs and their inventions. So kind of breeze through this. Maybe there will be an idea for you so that you can make your own. Again, with everything, if you're taking an idea from someone else, you need to give credit to that original person or organization that came up with the idea, and you need to clearly state that in your prospectus and proposal. And again, how you are going to tweak it and make it your own as well. Here's that Makers Faire that they put on every year. There's one large one, and then they also have mini Makers Faire across the country. There's actually one coming up in Atlanta. I'm going to be attending this weekend, and I'll post some pictures from that this weekend to share with you. So, take a look at these, what other people have come up with for their inventions and redesigns. You can also take a look at some of the recent patents that have been approved or proposed out there. There's a lot of ideas out here, so don't get drowned in all of that, but it might just help you spark some your ideas for your own. Other areas to look out. First, I'm going to go to this one. Another great idea is to look at within your industry, your organizations or journals. This one is the National Academy of Engineering of the National Academies. And they have an idea page, and it's just simply other engineers and folks posting their ideas of design and inventions and how to improve certain technology or systems that are already out there. So this might be another area that can help spark some of your ideas for this topic. Okay, and the next thing I want to quickly go over is now you've come up with an idea for your proposal, and you need to write that prospectus and share that idea on Google Plus and get some feedback from your peers. So make sure that you try to contribute to the discussion as early as possible so you can help out your peers, and they can also give you feedback in return. So some things to note with this: post your prospectus on the course circle that you have on Google Plus. Do share it with everyone. However, you will only need to give feedback to the individuals that were in the group assignment you had last week for the accident report. So I want you to be able to see everyone's ideas and what they're going on, but you only need to give feedback on about 4 to 5 people, depending on how many people were assigned in your previous group. This will help also organize feedback on Google Plus and make sure that everyone has at least about four commenters and some feedback, not only for myself. So after you read your peers' prospectus and ideas, offer up some suggestions or questions. It's great to offer praise and say, I like that, that's great, good idea, but I want you to go a little bit deeper than that and offer some real constructive feedback. What is great about it? Why did you like it? What areas? What parts are still fuzzy to you that you're unsure about? Maybe have a question related to how will this be implemented? What's their plan for the user manual, or how it will be tested? Ask them some real questions that allows them to think and help them develop their idea a little bit further. Some specific instructions related to that prospectus. Make sure that it's at least 500 words so you have a good overview of your concept's purpose. Have a brief background, state the scope, state your potential procedures or methodologies. This one might also include some resources or materials that will be eventually needed. And at this stage too, when you're doing that research, make sure that you are remembering to bookmark, tag, or keep track of those sources so you don't have to try to go searching through those later on when you start writing that proposal or your future documents. It's really going to probably save you some time in the future. Even if you don't end up using those sources, at least you have them organized. And then, of course, your conclusions and your recommendations, which is your solutions. Do note that I don't expect costs or prices within the prospectus. So by the end of the week, you should have some feedback from your peers, and also I will be chiming in and letting you, if I have any questions for you related to your topic, or if there's some red flags or concerns with your topic, and you need to make any revisions to that idea. So kind of one of the big goals that we're working on for this final project is to be able to take a concept and learn how to write it in different genres, different audiences, and in different formats. So this concludes this week's video, and I hope you have a great week.